Welcome to Deep Thought, opening your third eye. Now, in esoteric, metaphysical, new age, whatever circles, you always hear about the third eye. Now, it's interesting. I had a different take on it. Because for me, and I'm just saying for me, it's not like, some psychic force where you can, you get all this information from people. To me, the third eye has been more about your awareness and not your informational awareness, but really being able to see. See, understand, when you're looking at anything, it's always two levels to it. It's the surface level, but then there's the underlying thing. What's going on underneath? For example, you might have somebody rail against somebody for whatever reason. And you on the surface, you'll think, oh, this person just hates that person or you or whoever. Now, that's the surface thing. When you using your third eye, you seeing what's underlying it. And like you might see the people, you might see the two people. You might say, okay, this person looks like the person being railed against that's being talked about is a handsome person or a beautiful person, or look like they got this stuff together, they're confident, whereas the person railing against them, you take a look at them and it's like, well, they look busted. They look busted, they look defeated by life, their body language is off. That's the third eye in my estimation. That's the third eye. It's like you seeing below the surface. You seeing past their mask. That's the third eye. That's what you got to focus on. That's really what's opening. Can you see what's not seen? Can you see what's underneath? And it's not. And some people try to make it like it's some psychic thing or, you need some special power, but it's just a matter of understanding that there's more going on than what's said. It's like, personality profilers, people who administer lie detector tests, journalists, very good investigators, or an interrogator, a trial attorney, a judge, something like that. It's like you hearing what someone is saying and they're giving an impression on the surface, but then just having that insight to say, okay, what's going on? Like, for example, like an example I'll use, I'm always talking about relationships. I can tell when somebody's not comfortable with their sexuality. Like, say you have two women. Okay, they both got a sexy black dress on, and they might even have similar body styles. In fact, I'm going to make this fun. They're both twins. They both built the same. But, and on the surface, people will say, oh, they both physically attractive. Like on a surface. Pretty faces, nice bodies, body proportions are the same. But one you might judge as sensual and sexually appealing, and the other not so much. In fact, you might be a little bit repelled by her, but they wearing the same clothes. They have the same looks. They can even have the same hairstyle. I was like, well, wait a minute, what's different? Now, using your third eye, you'll say the one who appears to be sexy has a very confident body language. She's standing up straight. Her shoulders back. She's looking you in the eye. She's smiling. She has a twinkle in her eye. Okay, boom. But then the other one, you look at her, it's like, okay, surface, she looks exactly like the other one, but you don't perceive her that way. But her body language is a little slooped over. She keeps her eyes are kind of downcast. She's not presented as vibrant a presence. That's what the third eye does. It looks below the surface. You see with your main eyes. And of course, there's some people who argue the third eye is the main eye, but area is not open. But you seeing with your regular eyes, and you looking at that person, and you just see the what to you is subjective beauty. I don't like that term, objective beauty. But, you see that, but then you look with your third eye, and then you looking deeper. See, your third eye is important to do that. Your third eye, that's what it does. It sees below the surface as well. It looks at stuff that's not seen, is not articulated. It's below the surface, and you can see that a lot. And how to open it. The thing is to understand one important thing. There's always something going on below the surface. It's like when you see a car. Man, it's nice and shiny and everything, and the wheels were done nice and clean. Oh yeah, it looks great, but the engine is crap. And at that time you might use a third ear and know what's going on. For example, I remember I had a car, and it just counts to a third eye, third ear, and it would cut off sometime. So I had a shade tree mechanic come out. One of those guys, they not affiliated with anybody, but they can keep a car running. Usually those older cats, they can keep a car running. This dude, he didn't use a computer, anything. He just said start the car up, rev the engines a couple times. And then he was just like, he just did a couple things, and it was like, oh, yeah, you just need a tune-up. And I remember I drove him to the store to get some spark plugs and everything. And he was driving along. He said, oh, yeah, you're going to need that wheel balance too. But that's just digging below the surface. Now, to the ordinary person, the car looked great, clean, everything, but it was more going on. And that's with any person. When you hear a person talk, okay, why are they talking about this? What's going on? Man, it don't have to be a bad thing. They could be addressing something in relation to something and say, okay, what's going on behind it? What was their motivation? Like, I always know that there's something. I know some people take stuff at face value, and sometimes you can. Like, if I'm walking down the street, I'm taking people at face value because I don't have time to dig deeper. But if I have to deal with them, then I'm looking at stuff. I'm listening to stuff. Like I say, the third eye can also be the third ear. Now, understand something. I used to be an investigator. Used to be an investigator. Your tax dollars used to pay for it. So when I'm in investigation or asking questions and stuff, I'm doing two things. Yeah, I'm listening to the answers, and I'm looking at them at the surface, but then I'm looking for any ticks. I'm looking for if they say something, how they look at it. Do they look a certain way, or do they avert their eyes when I mention certain things, or is there like some type of jump? And I'm also listening to what they're saying, and then also what they're talking about. Because you let somebody talk enough, they tell on themselves. You just get them, all you have to do is just get them comfortable. So I'm listening for, okay, what's below the surface? They look like a clean cut dude. They clean cut, they sounded good. They talked about how they just volunteered at their church. But then their voice tone might change when they talk about a certain person or a certain activity. And that voice tone might be a slightly annoyed or even angry voice tone, Or when you see a person walk around someone and they might say, oh yeah, I like this person. But then whenever that person's close to them, they stiffen up. Pay attention to it. You listen to what they're saying, but then you seeing if their actions are congruent. And it's something everybody can do. Everybody can do. Whenever you seeing something, pay attention to it. Now, you don't know, ultimately, you don't know right away if you're right or not. And it really depends on how much you actually deal with that person. But if you listen to them and learn to see what's going on. And it takes practice, too. It takes practice. It ain't something you can even go to a class and, learn right away. But you can still do it. A lot of people do. In fact, I would say a lot of people who grow up in impoverished environments tend to have an open third eye because they have to pay attention to anything just for safety. But you want to do that. Just develop your conscience and see what's going on. Pay attention. Learn actions. And just pay. And the best way is just to pay attention. Like when somebody do something, watch what follows afterwards. And then put that into your memory bank. And it's really about expanding your consciousness or something. It's not a magical thing. Everybody should be able to do it. Anybody can do it. You don't have to be born with special gifts or anything like that. So, something to think about. So, keep rising, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.